Are you surprised? I'm not surprised, pups. I'm not surprised at all that this has come out. Let's talk about the Olympics. You want to talk about the Olympics? I don't want to have to talk about the Olympics, but it is what it is, isn't it? He's definitely not here against his will. Bless you. Bless you. Say hello, everybody. I'm Chubby. My name is Chubby. And I get the sneezels when I go on my back. You'll probably get more sneezels. All right. Oh, yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the thing that everyone's talking about. The Olympics. Charlotte Dujardin. Horse abuse. All of it. We're going to talk about all of it. So this is obviously mostly going to be my opinion, okay? There's so many differing opinions out there. There's people that are supporting Charlotte. There's people that are hating on her. There's people that are just trying to push for improved horse welfare. There's people that are pushing to try and break horses from the Olympics completely. Like, there's a lot going on right now, okay? This is just my thoughts on it, being an ethical horsemanship trainer. And yeah, let's talk about it. So firstly, the way that this video came out. A lot of people are saying that it sabotaged her from the Olympics. It was a sabotage. I don't think it was a sabotage. I think it came out exactly when it was supposed to come out, because if that video came out any other time, it probably would have been swept under the rug, okay? And it doesn't matter if this video was filmed 4 years ago, 2 years ago, who released it, who filmed it, that does not matter, okay? That shouldn't even be brought into the conversation because that is taking away from the bigger point that this happened, that this does happen quite frequently in the industry, because you can clearly tell the way that she is operating in that video and the fact that she's doing it in front of clients during a coaching session. Like, this is something that is pretty normalized. So none of those other things matter, okay? The thing is, it happened, it does happen. Let's try and stop it. Let's try and see if we can move forward from this, taking this information and making a better world for horses. Also, the victim blaming comes into this. There's been so much victim blaming, which I think is just ridiculous. And the people that are victim blaming, I think that is coming from a place that they actually feel some internal conflict that they're trying to avoid, because they're probably doing similar things to their horses, and that being called out as abusive, you know, that's going to create some conflict within themselves because they don't believe they're being abusive. They're just doing what they believe you're supposed to do or what they're taught. And that can be really hard to accept. So I think a lot of the victim blaming is coming from that. But anyway, we don't need to touch on that because there's so many videos about that. Where are we going to go now? Where is the horse industry going to go? It's a complicated one. It's a really complicated one. Firstly, I want to talk about my opinion of how I think higher level competition should be done, because I've been watching the Olympics, I've been watching the dressage, I watched the eventing. I watched a small amount of it because I actually had to turn it off because it made me so mad and so upset, because just the things that I was seeing and the things that the commentators were seeing, like for example, this video that I posted on TikTok.
Get the feeling of another happy horse. Another horse understanding his work and content to do it. Believe me, if they don't want to do it, they don't.
The cognitive dissonance just runs so deep. So firstly, obviously I train positive reinforcement. I also am very big like bitless and even tackless, bridleless. So in my opinion, and from my experience with horses and training, I think that if you are competing at the highest level of equestrianism, which is what the Olympics are, why the hell do we need such intense bits and all this tack to get the horses to do the thing that we want? Before you go and say like, oh, it's because they're competition horses and, you know, they've got a lot of energy, and no, that is not true at all. Like, these horses are the same breeds as a lot of the horses that I see doing bridleless, bitless, jumping, dressage, liberty, all these sort of things, okay? So to me, like the highest level of equestrianism should be that. It should be the bridleless stuff. It should be at least the bitless stuff. You know, competing and eventing in bitless bridle. Doing dressage bridleless. I think that shows a lot more skill from horse and rider than doing these weird maneuvers that are actually anatomically incorrect for horses and calling it dressage. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I think that because the horse world has, because it never used to be like that. It never used to be. If you look back at like all the old dressage stuff, they don't look like the dressage horses now. They look a lot happier too. And you can just see that from a still photo. Look, I'll do a photo of the old dressage and a photo of this year's Olympics. And can you see? Yeah, it's messed up, right? So I think that there needs to be a lot of improvements in what we're expecting horses to do at a higher level, and like what our expectation is of the horses at a higher level, essentially. And I just said that twice, but anyway, when I was a young girl, I didn't grow up with horses. I was that girl who was watching all of the horse shows, reading all of the horse books I could get my hands on. I remember when I was probably 11 maybe, or even less, like 10, because I was a big reader. I was reading this biography of, I can't remember who it is now. She did eventing in the Olympics though. And I was like, when I grow up, I want to be like her. And then I grew up and I got my own horses and I started training them and I started learning about behavior and I started riding and I went, what the actual hell are these guys doing in this higher level stuff? And how are we all, and why are we all trying to be like these people? Because at the end of the day, they're doing it wrong for the horse. The horses aren't happy. And you can see that. You can see that so clearly that people that aren't even into horses can see that. Like my friends come to me all the time and be like, hey, why do they do that? Doesn't that hurt the horse? And I'm like, yeah, it does. And they're like, oh, that's so messed up. I'm like, yeah. But for some reason, the deeper you get into the horse world, the more the cognitive dissonance starts to like kind of come in, because, for example, this bloody commentator saying, look at this relaxed, happy horse, when the horse is clearly not relaxed and happy. Like, so I think that there's a lot of work to be done. Unfortunately, the FEI, who is supposed to be enforcing these rules and these ethics and this welfare standard, aren't doing it to the extent that they could be. And for example, there is the Alliance for Horse Welfare in Sport. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to leave all the links below, so go and check it out. Essentially, it is an advocacy for improving horse welfare in a high-level competition, okay? They do a lot of work petitioning the FEI and just trying to improve horse welfare. I want to read you a response from the FEI president in regards to the increased pressure that has been being put on the FEI to improve horse welfare standards, okay? So I read it off my iPad. All right, and I'm going to put it up here so you can read it too. We can only be successful if we work together. All of you need to be on board. Nobody can kick the can to somebody else. I really insist, stop sending me letters and emails sharing your concerns. I think we proved already back in 2022 when we created the Equine Ethics and Wellbeing Commission that we are concerned, that we know that, hey Houston, we have a problem and that we need to solve it. So don't write to us, but look at what you can do yourselves. We're doing what we can do ourselves, sir, by trying to spread awareness and trying to petition and advocate for changes. That's what we're doing. We're trying and you're ignoring us and you're not doing it. You're not doing your part of the thing and you're just throwing out words just like every other governing body does. And it's infuriating. It is friggin' infuriating. And I don't know a lot about the ins and outs of the FEI and the rule books and the competition world because obviously I've never competed. If you do want to find out more about that, Shelby Dennis talks a whole lot about that. She's got a lot of knowledge and she's really advocating for changes in the horse world and competition world. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely go and head over to her page and her YouTube and her TikTok and all that, and even her podcast, and have a look at that. Essentially, there is a petition that you can sign to enforce welfare rules for Horse Paris Olympics 2024. Literally a petition to tell the FEI to enforce their own bloody rules, which is ridiculous, but that's a world we live in. And if you do want to go further, I do know that Rayleigh is petitioning to completely remove horses from the Olympics. I don't think that that is something that's going to ever happen, but that petition may put more pressure on the FEI because obviously it just shows public outrage. But I don't think we need to remove them from the sport completely. I think that that's a last resort. If we can't figure out how to improve the sport as a whole, then yeah, we need to remove them because it's not fair for the horses. It's really not fair. It's so obvious that the horses are not enjoying themselves. These horses are stressed. These horses are being treated really badly to be able to perform to an exceptionally ridiculous level, doing things that they are not anatomically even designed to be able to do properly without causing damage to themselves, just in the name of entertainment and to fuel human ego. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that we could do it all in a much more humane and compassionate way, showing real skill with bridleless, bitless work, and showing dressage that actually shows a partnership between two people rather than what looks like just a master and a slave situation. So what can we do? We can sign these petitions. We can keep talking about these issues. We can keep calling out horse welfare concerns when we see them. And I know that sometimes it's really hard because a lot of the times, especially if you're in a competition barn environment or you're in an environment where this sort of treatment of horses is the norm, it can be really, really terrifying to stand up because obviously, one, you're probably the only person who's willing to do that. And you're probably going to get a lot of heat from other people. And social rejection is like one of our biggest fears as a species. Like it is actually like ingrained because in the past, if you have social rejection, then you die. So standing up to someone, especially when there's a power imbalance, like for example, would have been happening in this Charlotte Dujardin situation, then it's really hard. But if we all start trying to just say a little thing every now and then when we see something that we can say things about, you know, if you do see a situation and you can speak about it, or you can sign a petition, or you can share these things on social media that are educating the public about these issues, then I think that that's the best that we can do at the moment. That's the only thing we can do at the moment, is just to try to bring light to these issues and try to show the world, hey, this is actually like really not cool, but look, we can just do it this way. We can just do it this way and it's really good. We don't need to do that. And hopefully over time, things will change. I know that they will change because the dog world changed. I came from the dog world. The dog world changed. It took a little while. And I mean, it is still changing, but the horse world, obviously there's a lot more money in the horse world. And where there's money, there is corruption, there is greed, there is ego. So it's a very intricate sort of convoluted situation thing we've got going on here. And it doesn't help that the committee that is supposed to be looking after the welfare issues is not doing a very good job. So I think that's the best place to start, is to try to just put some heat on the FEI to actually do what they're supposed to be doing and go from there. But yeah, just keep speaking about it, keep educating yourselves, keep trying to educate others, and hopefully eventually we're going to make a better world for horses. So again, I'm going to leave all the links of everything I've talked about in the comments. Feel free to check them out, sign the petitions that you want, and hopefully we can make some changes. Anyway, thank you for watching and tuning in and listening to my opinions and my rambles, and I will see you guys next time.